component for you.
Bloop.
There's the verbal.
I honestly don't know at what part I unmuted. I think I just missed your comment, Jeremy.
Oh,
Damn.
Oh.
I unmuted a little earlier, a little premature. Chat, I don't know what you heard, but I'm not going to apologize for it.
it was totally V.
I didn't do it this time.
Absolutely.
I didn't do it.
Hey, Internet.
I am innocent. I don't even believe that. Forget it.
That I don't believe. That I do not believe. Hey,
There should be
Internet. It's
an-
Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is the Dawnbringers. The Wild Beyond the Witchlight. This is Season 6, Episode 5. And this is called, tonight it is called Inflated Egos. And we'll see what these childlike versions of the Dawnbringers are up to with the WitchLight Carnival in just a couple of moments. First off, I guess I'll go ahead and I'll tell you a little bit about these domain dice. As we look up above V's head, you'll see one of the domain dice magically appear. Domain dice are a way that you, the viewers, can have a little bit of an impact on our game simply by subbing, resubbing, gift subs, tipping $5, cheering 500 bits, do a Ko-fi sub, all that kind of stuff. Provides them with domain dice that they can use for things like re-rolling. They can use them to make me re-roll. They can all the way up to a super critical, which is 5 domain dice to turn any hit into a super crit, double max damage automatically. But they can only get those from your support. And as you can tell, you've been supporting them for a very long time and in a very big way. So super appreciative for that. The other thing, and I should have said it when I said the Dawnbringers, it's not just the Dawnbringers anymore. It is the Dawnbringers brought to you by Session Zero Clothing. We are very proud to have Session Zero be a sponsor of the Dawnbringers here on Mini Terrain Domain. Session Zero has all kinds of cool nerdy t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, stickers, constantly resupplying, and I hear working on some new designs. And if you look up here, you'll see they've got an all new logo. I love that broadsword that's also a pen. So be sure to follow our affiliate link in the chat right now. And when you pick out your favorite Session Zero swag, be sure to use code MTD0 at checkout to get 10% off of your order. Another sponsor that we're going to mention real quick is Talon and Claw, makers of fine wooden dice accessories. They actually have a Kickstarter going on right now for the Adventures Compendium Vault, which features a dice vault, a rolling tray, a handmade turned wooden pencil. I think there's a voucher for a free mini from one of the 3D mini makers. Eldritch Foundry. There is a adventurer's journal from 1985 games that is included with it. All kinds of cool stuff. So first check that out, but also you can check out their Etsy shop and see what kind of cool dice vaults, rolling trays, laser engraved goodies that they have over there. And you can use code MTDClaw to get I had to pause so I don't say what I see. Only the players know what I'm talking about. Use code MTDClaw and you can get 10% off of your order and help support the channel. If you want to catch up with what the Dawnbringers or any of our other streams are up to, be sure to check out youtube.com/miniterraindomain, where all the VODs are uploaded within the week. All of the Dawnbringers' previous exploits over the previous 5 seasons are available there in their own unique playlists for each season. You can also check out our Monday night stream, Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries, which is the reason I keep saying Domain Tomes, because for some reason we have to call them something different over there. Also, this Sunday, Shadowport Adventures, DM'd by or game mastered by Jay Neophet, is a Star Wars campaign that is coming here to Mini Terrain Domain on Sunday at 3:30 Eastern, produced by Big Bearded Nerd. And then next Wednesday, over on Big Bearded Nerd Twitch channel, is the final episode of Silent Sky, which is our Mythos Investigators Call of Cthulhu game with the Keeper, M, who is going to do their best to kill us all. And then starting in April, Mythos Investigators will be moving to Mini Terrain Domain. It's usually around the second Wednesday of the month. With our good friend Carrie will be the keeper for that, and that is going to be her first ever game of anything that she game masters. And it's a unique 3-shot written by her. So we are super excited for that. So yeah, be sure, if you haven't already, followed the channel, subscribe, whatever, stay up to date on what we got going on. Lots of cool shows migrating over from Big Bearded Nerd, and our own shows that are happening here on a regular basis. The last thing that I want to talk about before we play some Dungeons and Dragons is, of course, our mental health message. We talk about this every week before every single game that we run on the channel because it's important. And it is simply this, that you matter. Whether or not you believe it, it's true. Your presence here on this earth makes a difference, and we want you to know that. But we also understand that at any given time, whether personal or just the world, there's things going on that can weigh on you. You may be struggling for whatever reason. Please know that you don't have to do so alone. There are resources available. You can come here in our chat anytime you want, and you can type !help, as Jeremy has just done. There is a link that appears when you do that. findahelpline.com. That is a super easy to use free website. All you do is put in where you're located in the world, hit enter, and you will get links to all kinds of mental health resources and help services for phone numbers, text numbers, websites. Bookmark it for a friend, for yourself, whatever you need, so you always have that at your fingertips should you need it, because you matter. With that, I think it's time to play some Dungeons and Dragons. So, our Dawnbringers have entered the wonderful world of the WitchLight Carnival, where immediately upon entering, they were transformed into childlike selves. Not that they were reduced to them as children, but rather childlike versions of themselves. And they've been enjoying the carnival, checking out the rides, checking out the attractions, indulging in a variety of experimental snow cones. I think last week it was there was a honey baked ham savory snow cone. So they've been checking out a lot of that kind of stuff, but also noticing things are a little bizarre here at the Witchlight Carnival. They watched a young man believe that his proposal had been laughed at. He ran away into the House of Illusions, where he was swept away by a reflection, a mysterious-looking reflection. They've learned about a Durlagron, a displacer beast who operates the Lost and Found, who is missing their child, and asked to keep a lookout for them. They've helped a mime get his voice back so that he could propose to the mermaid. Several of them, Thorgarn juggling hammers, and Cantriel singing a song, and Talmud leaping from the top of the big top into a plume of fire. They performed admirably, gaining the attention, raising the mood of the WitchLight Carnival, but also gaining the attention of the owners of the carnival, as it was brought to their attention when a very large bugbear wearing a jack-o'-lantern on his head and bib overalls came by and said, "Management would like to see you. Come with me." And that is where we are picking things up. So this large hulking bugbear, who you had seen performing feats of strength in the carnival just moments before, has presented himself before you and said to come with him. Are you going to follow him?
Yeah, I think so. I think we ended off with everybody like, okay, let's go.
All right.
Yep.
So, yeah.
1 point of order. Rollo.
Yes.
For meta reasons, you were, I believe, asleep in...
That's right. You wake up in a cozy little pile of fluff balls.
Yes, you were placed into a the name escapes me.
Bag of tricks.
Bag of tricks. With these little puff balls that I imagine are occasionally making noise. Just little mules and little
chirps.
Little chirps, little animal sounds. But, Rollo.
Yes.
You being in this very diminutive form with your kobold Erd wings that have basically that have fused with your butterfly wings, they're sort of curled around you, and you're just sort of waking up, curled up nice and cozy inside this bag. And as you shift, you realize that you're not alone. And I'm not talking just about the yarn balls. There is a peculiar, almost frog-like creature with big bulging eyes that is in here with you and looking at you, the eyes blinking, and it is just staring at you as you wake up.
Hello. Do you talk?
What? There it is. Of course, that's not the one I wanted. For the moment, with his very large eyes, he is just staring at you. The eyes are almost glowing. Within at you.
I use prestidigitation to make my eyes glow back.
Rollo, what is a trait or a characteristic of something? It can be something. Think something sort of intangible, but something about yourself that you like.
I would say Rollo appreciates her curiosity because it has taught her so many things.
this figure, this weird creature, looks at you. And this table of contents is really messing with me because I know exactly what I'm looking for. I've been vamping this whole time as I'm trying
doing
to
a great job.
Find this thing's name. Points his finger at you and just reaches out slowly and touches you between the eyes. Do you do anything?
Rollo kind of sits there looking cross-eyed at the tip of his finger for a second, and then licks his finger.
Licks the thing, the dude?
Yeah, licks the frog's finger, yes.
Okay.
I said what I said.
Okay. Very well. The creature where you licked his finger just goes you have lost your curiosity.
Oh no!
As this figure, who you would recognize now as one of the three figures that Cantriel had seen skulking about in the feasting orchard, and who oh my gosh, names today, Tumblestrom had told you about. The pickpockets that have been sort of given reign over people who try to either enter the carnival without tickets, or who hide away in a canvas bag without having their ticket punched while they go on a ride.
Oh.
Nobody had Rollo's ticket punched when you all went on the Dragonfly ride. I see Dan looking skeptically, but I made a note of it.
Did you check the tape? Because I feel like I did have Rollo's ticket punched, but I'll buy it if you say we didn't.
If you can refute that, if we can refute that, then I'll deal with that in a different way. But as of right now, whether or not that's true, to this creature, Rollo did not have their ticket punched. You can take it up with this creature maybe at a later time, but nonetheless, he takes your curiosity. When you see him sort of pull his finger back and he kind of licks his finger where you licked it, and then the last thing you see before he disappears is those two orbs staring at you, and they blink, and then they're gone.
Whatever.
You feel the bag that you're in moving around. The movement, the gentle side-to-side movement as it's swinging against Drown's hip as he walks. The rest of you, you're walking along behind this this big bugbear. As you head around to the backside of the big top, there is what looks like he's leading you right towards just a very thorny, brambly wall of bushes. He's not slowing his pace at all, and he just sort of dismissively waves his hands, and you watch as these branches and bushes just sort of and recede away, revealing an opening into the staff area behind the tents, where you see all of these wagons and things that you saw bringing the carnival at the beginning of the day or the night when they all landed. They're all arranged in sort of a haphazard way. You see a few WitchLight hands milling about back here as Burley just walks you through, meandering through these wagons in a very specific way. As you are meandering through here, there is one wagon where there is a very particular individual that you see who is just staring you all down. You know that when you see in TV or movies when the camera passes by and you sort of see the person, but the camera's moving. It's sort of like this as you pass by this individual. He has a smile painted on his face, this clown. And he is smoking a bubble pipe. But even the bubbles are morose, as they only go a few inches from the pipe and they go blue. They just don't have anything about him. He's very kind of colorful in the way of a clown, but everything has this sort of dingy look to it. And you can see even through his smiling, painted on smile of a face that his actual face is frowning at you as you all walk by. His
parents named him that.
Because his parents named him Thaco.
Yes.
After a few moments, you are brought to the most elaborate and ornate wagon of all of them. The back door of the wagon is just slightly ajar. And as you approach, you can hear talking from inside. You hear two voices. It doesn't matter what they saw. We are not saying anything. Every time they do something like this, the mood of the carnival goes down. If it wasn't for those children, it would practically be crying from the clouds right now. This is beyond our control. If we get too involved... But... Yes, what is it, Burley? You may enter. And the door is pushed open. And you see Mr. Light, the very tall, thin clown that was sort of jester that was the MC of the Big Top Extravaganza, with the diamond-shaped mirrors all over his costume. And just beyond him, you see the larger figure of Mr. Witch just inside the wagon. You see these two individuals as Burley says, "I've brought the children for you, sirs." Excellent, excellent, Mr. Light says, a smile suddenly lighting up his face. We are so absolutely, just purely honored to have you children here with us today. Isn't that so, Mr. Witch? Yes, of course. How are you enjoying the carnival?
Fig steps up immediately to Mr. Witch and pulls out his little clay figurine of Mr. Witch and like holds it up to him.
Did you make that, little one? May I see that? He holds out his big hand.
Yeah, Fig kind of waddles over and places I imagine this figurine is like this big, like it's very small, and Fig has to hold it with both hands, but as he puts it on Mr. Witch's large hand, it looks very small in it.
Mr. Witch holds it up, reaches inside just inside his vest and pulls out a monocle, puts it on. The workmanship is absolutely exquisite, and the likeness is remarkable. You are very gifted. He does something with his hand, and you see for a moment the figure that you've carved, whatever facial expression you had carved into this figure, it's now winking and smiling. And I would like you to roll a D100, Fig. And while you're doing that, I'm going to tell you that I'm having you roll on Spinning Fate, Heroic Boons and Banes, available on DM's Guild, not a sponsor. Written and published by our own Gary, fortnerd.com. With proceeds benefiting Jesse's journey. I've recently started using this in some games, and what'd you get?
74.
74. So that is going to be, as he hands you back this, the figure, you notice that the figure is also holding what looks like a small burlap sack. And Mr. Witch winks at you as he hands you this.
I think Fig wastes no time with like taking it. He doesn't even like say there's no like recognition of it. He just kind of immediately takes it and turns and just like starts fiddling with this little burlap sack that he.
As soon as you pull it away and you start fiddling with it, and you kind of, it just easily comes away from the figure. For me, a moment you think you broke this figure, but in your hand, this little burlap sack goes and becomes about a foot tall, and you can feel that it's not heavy, but it's full of something. And looking inside, you see it's just full of broken pottery. But there's a note in there that says, "Not for external distribution. Sprinkle them around your camp to foil invisible enemies."
Fig just excitedly, I don't know, like Fig is excited just because it's pottery and just something in there. So he is just like showing everyone, like passing it around, just like showing them the broken pottery just very excitedly.
Hey, that's cool. I wonder if you could put it back together.
Fig just nods and then just sits down immediately, just totally not involved in this conversation, and just begins to like try and fiddle with it.
Little did he know, he gave you a 3D puzzle. Mr. Light immediately turns to you, Thorgarn. Ah, young Master Dwarf. Yes, Mr. Witch, this is the dwarf that I was telling you about. Yes, I saw. You are quite a skilled young man when it comes to the juggling of hammers.
I think that's all just, luck for, beginner's luck, that's what it's called.
Have you never juggled hammers before?
Nope, just kind of felt inspired.
Inspired to juggle hammers. Those are the kind of people we like to see here at the WitchLight Carnival. Here. For your next act. And Mr. Light reaches behind and hands you what is very obviously a rubber toy hammer that when you bop it, it just goes booey, booey. Go ahead and roll a D100.
That's going to be a 68.
As you are handed this this little hammer that looks like a toy, you are reminded of one of your little dwarven cousins that used to use a similar little hammer to assemble little makeshift dwarven strongholds from these bricks that were crafted in a way that they could fit together and pull back apart. And he used to leave them all over the place all the time, and you learned to dodge them. The next time you move through difficult terrain, your first movement through difficult terrain will not count as difficult terrain. Let's see how many times I can say difficult terrain in that. So just make a note and have a little boon there. And you are a magnificent dwarven daredevil from the furthest heights of the Big Top. Into it would seem the very depths of Avernus, only to emerge unscathed through the front entrance. With a slight hint of, was that brimstone?
Talmud kind of looks almost like he's been called on the spot. And he kind of sheepishly just nods.
Aye, it was.
It was quite amazing what you did. An excellent feat of daredevil. And he snaps his fingers and there's just a little like flash paper of a flash of flame. Go ahead and roll me a D100.
Okay. Let's see. It's going to be 81.
Yeah, somehow you were all staying right in this one block on this page. This could not be more fitting for you. As he snaps his fingers and there's this little flash of light, what does this flare of fire, what food does this remind you of?
I mean, it has to be ham.
There's a sudden gurgle of hunger pang from your stomach. You have +1 to your next perception check as you realize you're slightly hungry and on the lookout for a snack. Mr. Witch himself looks up from where Fig is attempting to assemble these pieces of broken pottery, where he was sort of crouched down from being down as close to your height as possible. And he stands up and he looks over at you, Cantriel. You have the looks of a very young elven girl, but you sing with the voice of an Eladrin far beyond those years. You sing with experience and knowledge, heart and emotion. I dare say there were more than a few people dabbing at their eyes myself included, when they heard your magnificent voice.
Yeah, I sing a little.
I think you sing more than a little. I want to thank you personally for honoring us with that most magnificent tune. You and your friends have spread joy that has found its way through our carnival. Please, have this token. And he whistles just a single note. And you would recognize this note, Cantriel, as the very last note of your song. And as he does so, you see the note form out of pixie dust in the air into a physical manifestation of that note with little butterfly wings that spring off of it, and it flutters down to your hand. Roll me a D100.
27.
47?
27.
Oh, 27. All right. As this butterfly note lands on your hand, it comes with it just a little piece of knowledge. It seems to carry within it this note the threads of music, and woven in with the actual threads of the weave and the weave of magic that threads its way throughout the realms. And there's always this sort of inherent knowledge. Cheaters sometimes prosper. Once you can automatically learn a single piece of information about a monster you are engaging with. As you, through this note, you have sort of a tap in to see, just through that one note, that one thread, you can basically spend it and learn one thing about any one. I'll say basically anything you're encountering that's a mystery, you can cash that in at any time to learn one piece of information about it. And you, young man, are you their guardian?
Oh gosh. I mean, yeah, a little bit.
Well, they all look healthy and safe. In your care, you are doing a very good job.
Well, it's kind of what I was training for, so, you know, I try.
Well, there's still a little bit of time left here at the carnival. Make sure you keep a close eye on your friends. You never know what kind of trouble you might get into.
Yeah, well, I'll do my best.
And as he says this, he does that thing. I've tried it 100 times over the years, and I can never quite get it down, but where you just kind of go, and there's a card in your hand. And the card is a joker. And he hands it to you. Roll a D100.
$85.
I'm gonna have you re-roll, because this, it literally says, much like a fish, you're at home in the water. And I'm reading it and I'm like, nope, this would have no effect on drown. as Mr. Witch goes, oh, sorry, that is the wrong Joker, and kind of goes
like a fortune cookie.
21.
21. All right, let me resolve that. 21 is going to be he hands this new joker to you, and you see the difference. The only difference between this joker and the other one is that this joker is holding the staff that he's holding, the scepter, has just a little bit of a it's like a foil card, a little bit more collectible, but when you kind of turn it, you see that it looks like the scepter has sparkles around it. If you make any attack that is non-magical, you can spend this card to turn it magical, or you can add a +1 magical damage to any attack using the card if it is already a magical attack.
Very cool. Thanks. That's wow. I appreciate it. That's cool.
And Mr. Light says, "Oh, I don't want to make any assumptions whatsoever, but would your little friend in your bag there be interested in joining us?"
Well, maybe. She's been napping pretty hard. Let me kind of open up the bag of tricks and peek in and see if Rollo. Hi, you're awake.
Is currently kind of doing little somersaults and palling around with the little fuzzballs in the bag and making little noises, mimicking their noises.
Hey, you have a good nap?
Hey, Rollo had great nap, thank you.
Great.
Except for the frog. The frog was weird.
The frog?
Yes, the frog that poked me in the nose.
Wait a minute. What? Okay, there shouldn't be a frog in there. What frog?
You're looking down on the bag, and all you see is Rollo and the Fuzzballs, which sounds like a great band name.
Rollo and that was my high school ska band name.
There you go.
Rollo and the Fuzzballs.
I'll kind of scoop Rollo up and kind of pick her up and put her on my shoulder or wherever she wants to be. All right. Okay, so a frog showed up and poked you in the nose. Anything else?
Did it have big googly eyes?
Yeah,
Did it have friends?
not just a frog. Its eyes glowed.
Thorgarn, Talmud, Cantriel, and Drown. Make me a perception check. Rollo, you could do so with disadvantage. And Fig, you're still assembling pottery, I assume. So you are not paying attention to what's happening.
18 for Drown.
Natural 20 for a 22.
Ooh.
This
Andrew,
Thorgarn
sort of
is the
back to
best
roll
version
set.
of Thorgarn.
22.
22.
I just happened to
Natural
roll
20 and a 9.
Oh. I got a 21 with the +1 to my next perception roll because of my hunger.
So all of you, the four of you that rather, Rollo and Fig excluded, you notice that as Rollo was talking about this frog, Mr. Witch and Mr. Light are looking very uncomfortably between each other. Their whole demeanor shifts for a moment, and they just kind of give each other that look like. And then Mr. Witch says, "Fuzzballs and frogs are nothing to worry about here at the WitchLight Carnival. We do hope, little one, that you have found great joy here within the carnival. And, if I may be so bold as to dispel any notions of anything causing you problems by touching your nose," and he just reaches this weather vane like scepter slowly towards your nose and just boop right on the tip of your nose. Roll a D100.
20.
As he touches your nose for just a moment, it's like the veil between worlds has been momentarily thinned. And you swear you can see the actual weave of magic that threads itself between the very realms. Once, when you cast a spell that has a verbal, somatic, or material component, you can completely eschew one of these, as you are the best at what you do. So, and I'm going to roll that to say if a spell has a single one of those components, like say it's a verbal,
Yeah.
you can use this ability once, and you can cast a verbal spell, that verbal spell non-verbally. So use that how you will.
Sweet.
This is the minor boon that you've been granted.
She licks the tip of the staff.
He just sort of chuckles to himself. Well, you are certainly all a delight. I wanted for us to personally thank you for joining us here at the WitchLight Carnival and spreading your cheer and your joy and raising the mood of our carnival. We hope that when you return home, you will tell your friends about your experience, that they might also join this place.
Talmud has gotten really close to Mr. Light and is like got one eye like mostly closed and is kind of narrowing his open eye at him, like he's studying him real close. He's got his hands kind of on his hips and he says,
I just happened to notice that the two of you exchanged a look. Would that happen to be related to the thing that you're not going to say? Whatever it was you were talking about before we walked in?
Rollo doesn't think that's any of our business.
Make a persuasion check at advantage.
okay. Let's see. Ooh, she has a 19 on the die for a total of a 21.
And I got a 14. Mr. Light looks down at you, and you just sort of see as you're looking up at him, he's this very tall, kind of looking almost down his nose at you, and just holding this sort of, you know, this posture of joy and cheerfulness. And just like that, he deflates. Ah, you heard that, did you? I told you,
Talmud nods.
I told you, Mr. Witch. These are no ordinary children.
And we've also seen the 3 visitors to the carnival.
Yes.
Weird
We
ones.
do not speak of the visitors. Well, it is best not to draw attention where none is needed.
Well, it sounds like one of them decided to make it needed. Right?
Mr. Witch,
Frog with glowing eyes.
Mr. Witch looks
One of them.
over at you, Rollo. I can see by your wings that you came in here with a ticket. But did you use your ticket to enter all of the attractions?
Up until Rollo took a nap, yes. After that, I don't know.
Oh, shit. And I
Both
checked.
Witch
I
and Light?
didn't get her ticket punched.
You didn't?
No. I got Talmud's or Fig's ticket punched, whoever was riding on my shoulders the session before.
So that was Dan saying, oh shit, not drown?
No, that's Drown.
Oh, okay.
Realizing,
So then,
oh, shit.
as you say that, Witch and Light both look at you and simultaneously go, language. We're just kidding.
Sure.
I don't give a damn if you swear.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm sorry, Rollo. That's my fault. I forgot you were asleep in the pouch. So I guess you rode the dragonflies without using your ticket.
Okay.
Rollo,
Really?
excuse me. Rollo seems surprisingly okay with this. Don't mind me, I just tried to drink or to breathe water. That boon
Yeah, you
wasn't for
shouldn't
me.
do that. Don't do that. It's not good for you.
Rollo,
Yeah.
don't you want to know what we saw with the dragonflies?
I'm sure it was nice.
Right, whatever happened with Rollo and Bugaboo Eyes, fix it.
All right, here's the thing. I can't.
Why not?
It is...
Somebody's got their hand in their pockets.
That is... Somebody has their hand in your pockets, it would seem.
Because you let them.
From a certain point of view, you could say that.
Is this deal with his soul?
Sorry, I was coughing. I didn't hear what you said.
Does this have to do with his soul?
They both look at each other and then at you. How do you know that name?
None of your business. Answer the question.
Now listen here, young man. And Mr. Light immediately looks at Mr. Witch. No. I think we have to tell them. Mr. Witch reaches into his pocket and pulls out this ornate watch at the end of this gold chain and looks at it. Yes, I suppose you are right. Very well. If you know the name is sold, then I feel as though you may already know some of the story. But one does not throw that name around without knowing how they are connected to the WitchLight Carnival.
Mm-hmm.
There.
Yeah, we know about your arrangement.
Well, then you should know that our arrangement was sanctioned by Evangeline herself. When an archface signs off on the deal, you know it must be on the up and up.
Are you kidding?
I was being facetious.
Oh, good.
But nonetheless, we trust Evangeline implicitly, or we did. We thought that she had our best interests in mind. But we have seen nor heard not a peep from her in quite some time. And the coven's little imps
What coven?
move freely. There is a coven. His voice gets really low. I'm not going to talk quieter, but just so you know, his voice gets really low as they lean in so that if you want to hear what they're saying, you have to get really close. As he says, there is a coven of hags within the Feywild. They somehow learned of our arrangement. This is quite concerning, because not only has a powerful coven of hags learned of this, so too has apparently a ragtag band of misfit children wandering the carnival. We do not want to give up this carnival. But the hags have threatened to force our carnival and the other carnival to appear on the same plane simultaneously, which would end our deal and send us back to the Shadowfell. We do not want that.
You think they can make good on that threat?
I know they can make good on that threat. Once upon a time, Evangeline would have prevented such a thing from happening. But as the Witchlight Carnival has traversed the realm, we hear things, the hands hear things. And the word on the Midway is that Evangeline is no longer at the seat of power within Prismia.
Not
Can we go
part
on
of
rides
you.
now?
Accurate. No, hang on, Rollo. We need to hear a little more.
Okay.
Okay, so you think this coven is they're enemies of Evangeline?
If they have somehow found a way to cut her off from her magic, trapped her in some way, that would give them power to claim her domain as their own. What we're hearing is that Prismia has been divided amongst the coven. They've taken what was once this glorious place within the Feywild, and they've divided it hither, thither, and yon. We have been keeping our eyes and ears very close to the ground, in the hopes that some brave adventurers will show themselves to be worthy of taking on a quest to the Feywild. Word was, very recently, that Evangeline herself had requested that we present the Witchlight Carnival here in Icewind Dale. We had plans to be all the way on the southern side of the realm in a magnificent jungle called Chult. They've got dinosaurs, you know.
Neat.
But we were told to move here instead.
Evangeline told you to come here?
Agents of Evangeline, people who we could trust.
All right.
So, it is now 6 hours into the Witchlight Carnival, close to 7, and we have yet to see sign of these adventurers.
How long do you stay set up?
Only until just before the dawn.
Oh.
Barely more than an hour, and the carnival will begin to pack up, says Mr. Witch, looking at his pocket watch.
Do you think that she sent them here for us?
Yeah, so we're in a
Ah,
position to help each other out.
oh, wonderful. This is a joke, yes?
Yeah, sure. We're on our way into the Feywild, so apparently Prismir is where we're looking to go. Can you get us there?
What in all of this has made you think that we would let a group of meddling children just wander into the Feywild? How responsible would that be?
We're no children. We are the Dawnbringers.
You are the Dawnbringers.
Yes.
I have heard the tales of the Dawnbringers whispered on the wind just about every place we have been. Great, heroic deeds performed by the magnificent Cantriel the Bard, the wonderful and colorful clockwork wizard known as Figure 2 Prometheus, the dwarven barbarians Talmud and Thorgarn, the great unnamed Goliath warrior with magic and might, and a peculiar little Erd known as Rollo.
Yeah, that's me.
Right, I'm Cantriel. I sang a new verse tonight. I'm sure you could ask Eliwick.
Oh, shit.
You are all wonderfully dressed. Magnificent cosplay as the heroes of the realm known as the Dawnbringers. Right down to that wonderfully crafted version of Talmud's magical maul.
Yep.
Beautiful braces, everything we've heard. It is clear that you must be chief amongst their fans.
Well, I mean, we do like each other.
That's probably correct, yeah.
Normally, this is the point where I would say, Cantriel, you notice something, but I believe your passive is much lower right now.
Not what it used to be.
I would like all of you to roll perception.
Ooh. Baby Drown is way more perceptive than Big Drown. 15.
16.
9.
Again. You know how I got a nat 20 on the first one? This one's a 5, so.
So it
I
looks,
also got a 16.
it looks like Cantriel, Drown, and Talmud are the perceptive ones here right now. But real quick, just as an aside, I want you to roll me a D100. I'm going to do an MTD Jake D100 sliding scale here. I've rolled my number. There is a 25% chance of something happening. And I want to know what you rolled.
87?
87. Okay, the thing didn't happen. Instead, you are able to assemble 2.5 clay pots from all the broken pieces. There was a 25% chance you would have assembled a jug of alchemy. And mayonnaise would have gone everywhere.
I was wondering if that's what it was going to be. Mayonnaise for everyone!
Instead, it looks like a couple of miniature knockoffs of a jug of alchemy. Alchemy is spelled with a K. Weirdly, it's in Talmud's handwriting.
Of Acme.
Right. But Cantriel, Drown, and Talmud, you hear sort of beyond where you all are in the staff area. You begin to hear. You've sort of heard the sounds of the whole carnival happening, you know, just the general sounds of merriment and children laughing and people enjoying the various rides and drifting on the wind, the singing of Palasha the mermaid, and you can sort of see bubbles floating through the air, as you are all too familiar with, Cantriel. And then you notice that the three of you notice the tone of that sounds of merriment has shifted, and it sounds like people are in alarm. And you've also noticed that some of the WitchLight hands themselves are beginning to run from where they're taking bubble pipe or sandwich breaks or whatever, and they're beginning to run towards the sound. And Mr. Witch suddenly looks up past you all, stops laughing and smiling. And Mr. Light, you see that this scepter he's holding, the weather vane on it, goes And the color shifts from these bright colors down a couple hues. Something is amiss. If you'll excuse us, and they begin moving quickly in the direction that the rest of the hands are going. From that cartoonish gesture, Talmud seems to be following. Was everybody else following along? Fig picks up their assembled pots. You start following everyone along, and Burley, the bugbear, is standing by that entrance. He's holding open where the thorny bushes have been opened up, and you all begin to move through, and you see out in the midway, everybody is running across, like they're running. It looks like they're running from one end, and then you see everybody sort of stop and skid, and they look over to this side, and then you turn, and then they stop. Roll me a d6.
Three.
The first thing you all hear is this incredibly loud and then you see bounding around the corner a 15-foot tall mountain goat made out of balloons. It's a very underwhelming response from Rollo.
Rollo is just completely underwhelmed.
Rollo, roll me a d6.
One.
When the people run away from this big balloon billy goat, they turn and they skid as you hear this as lumbering around the corner is a massive 12 feet at the shoulders, completely made of blue balloons, comes lumbering a bear. And with
That's a really
every
good
move,
bear.
you hear that sound of balloons make when they sort of squeak together. That sort of... I almost got some balloons for this so I could make the sounds, and I thought, some people might not like those sounds.
Yeah.
Good call.
Especially if you're wearing headphones.
Yeah. And then, V, roll me another d6.
That would be a 6.
Where you have emerged is sort of as you were looking at the front of the big top, you had gone around the left side. You all see a shadow sort of fall over the crowd, and several people it looks at first like they're looking towards you. And then following their gaze, you realize they're looking up at the top of the big top. And as you all look up, you hear this massive sound of, "I'm so hungry. So very, very hungry." And you see this gigantic, gargantuan even, caterpillar made, all of its segments are giant balloons stuck together.
Hungry caterpillar. Oh my god.
And I would like you all to roll for initiative.
Boy.
And I will get those numbers from you in just a moment. Actually, looking at the time, go ahead and roll your initiative, and we're going to go ahead and take our break now. And when we come back from break, we will deal with this balloon animal problem. So thank you everybody who has tuned in so far. Stick around. We are going to be back in about 10 minutes with more.
Caterpillar ate everyone at the candied apple booth, but he was still hungry.
Exactly. There'll be some. Oh my gosh! I just blanked on his name. The guy that wrote and painted those anyway.
Eric Carl.
Eric Carl. I was trying to say Carl Eric, and it just didn't sound right. But yes, we will be back with more very, very hungry Caterpillar and friends in just a few minutes.
Boobies.
Goodness.
And we're back. They have no idea that I unmute them, or they do have an idea that I unmute them before I do anything else, so they're doing it on purpose.
I did not know that.
Right before. Well, you should have learned that from the last boob time. Let me rephrase that. From the last boob comment.
I was going to say, wait, there's a boob
time again already?
Really?
Mr. Witch just looked at his watch, and it is boob time.
This is a whole new carnival.
Crazy carnival.
The WitchLight
Carnival.
Carnival
I
After
have to go write a
Dark.
magic item.
This is carnival.
Carnival. Oh my god.
Well,
WitchLight After Dark.
WitchLight Carnival. Somebody out there's got to do this. All right. We have just rolled for initiative because there is a giant balloon mountain goat, balloon bear, and balloon very, very hungry caterpillar that are wreaking havoc on the carnival.
Squeaking havoc.
I'm mad.
Yes.
I'm mad I didn't think of that. As it is. We are at the top of the order, and it is Little Thorgarn. Littler Thorgarn.
One note: Drown is not on that initiative list.
I have. I put you in from what you typed
good.
in.
All right, so
Carry on.
We're able to ascertain that they're being like super aggressive and whatnot. We haven't tried to.
You know how goats will eat pretty much anything. And you remember the two gnomes with the snow cone booths? As you're sitting there wondering, are these really a threat? The giant goat goes and just swallows up the snow cone booth and one of the gnomes.
So you
Oh shit.
If you look real
real.
carefully, you can see the gnomes sort of boom, 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 boom inside the balloons.
So you would see Thorgarn kind of like look to his, very nerfy weapon, look to the thing, just moments of hesitation. And then he kind of grabs a holy symbol around his neck, and he will cast Guiding Bolt.
At?
He's going to at the goat.
Okay.
So that's going to be a 21.
That is going to hit the balloon goat.
It's going to be 17 damage, and the next attack roll made against it gets advantage.
So you see this magical illuminated bolt of energy shoot out from Thorgarn, and it hits the goat, and for a moment the light just hits inside the balloons and starts refracting around. You see the shadow of the gnome inside, kind of like this, and then all of the light seemed to just shoot out of the eyes of the balloon goat. And it's not like it's made up of just a few big balloons. This thing looks like it's made up of hundreds and hundreds of like balloon animal balloons. And when you hit it, several of them just pop, 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 pop. And then the whole thing just sort of retains that glow as this radiant light catches inside it, granting advantage to baby Talmud. Wait, are you done, Littler
Yeah, that was it.
Thorgarn?
Yep.
Okay, so I think Talmud is going to reach back and pull the foam version of Gerto Brelne out in front of him, and then is going to charge forward. I guess I'll just go ahead and go for the goat as well.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd be able to close with it or not.
Sure. Absolutely.
Excellent. All right. So he's going to run up and as he's crossing the distance, the stains from like the snow cone like coloration and dyes and all of the snacks and things that he has been eating begin to glow with a blue kind of hue as a much taller dwarf kind of almost envelops him, running in stride with him as cousin is going to come out, and she's going to say, no, you need to leave him alone. He's too small. No, you back away. And is going to run at this creature, bringing his foam Gerto Brownie down with advantage. Okay, that is a 24 to hit.
That is definitely a hit.
All right, and as he is raising Geralt Brane up, he's going to flip that little switch on the haft that is by his thumb. As you hear that kind of like very cartoony, and this like light, this LED kind of looking energy kind of passes up the haft of the maul and encompasses the head of it in lightning. As I am going to, I'm going to turn this into a super crit.
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Okay. So, time for math. Let's see. 6 and 196 points of damage.
What does it look like when you destroy this giant balloon goat made up of hundreds of balloons?
If you've ever seen like the way like electricity interacts with a balloon, it's this, he raises the maul up and starts to bring it down, but before the maul even makes contact, there's like this little arc of this electricity from the head of Gerto Braune to the balloon, and you just see one after the other these thousands of balloons just kind of pop almost in a blink of an eye, and there's just this like powdery mist that's left behind where it was standing, kind of still in its shape for just a second before it starts to settle.
And that powdery mist sort of, you see this electrical energy just sort of arcing through this, as there's a static discharge with the dissipation of this balloon. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw as this powder rains down around you.
Okay. Let's see here. Constitution saving throw. Is this against poison?
It is not.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, it is not a con save, it is a wisdom save. My mistake.
Save. Oh, Jacob, why?
I mixed up my effects.
All right. 14.
As this powder sort of falls and static electricity is mixed in with it, you hear next to you this sort of oof as the gnome falls a few feet to the ground, now freed, and partially melted snow cone and snow cone dyes land all over him. This powder sort of descends down around Talmud, and as it lands on you, Talmud, you become very confused.
Oh.
You are now under the effects of a confusion spell. And at the start of each of your turn, you will roll a d10 to determine what you actually do.
Perfect.
And this will... persist for a minute. Unless something is done about it. That is going to put us at... Next in the order is Child Cantriel.
Okay, Cantriel is going to take out Sempre Cavatina and draw one of her arrows. And I'm sure the arrows right now, they have like those protective little caps on top.
Suction cups.
Not even a suction cup, like, you know, like old corks they used to do?
Yep.
Yeah. So she'll
It looks like
arrows.
those marshmallow arrows.
Yeah. So she'll actually yank that off and then draw. Like, remove the safety feature before firing. At the hungry caterpillar, I guess.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, towering up above all of you is this giant balloon caterpillar. So hungry! As you can see it looking... Eat this.
So, 18 hit?
An 18 will just hit.
Okay, and that is going to be 7 piercing.
Okay. Let's see. 7 piercing. So, you learn very quickly that this should be no surprise that these balloon animals are susceptible to piercing damage.
Amazing.
As several of these, so this giant, very, very hungry caterpillar balloon is sort of these greens, but there's these like purple and red spots that are made up of other balloons, and as you hit it, several of these sort of pop, 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 pop. And you notice when you do hit it, as they pop, you see some of that same powder, but because this thing is towering up above, the powder just quickly dissipates in the wind. You are level 3, so I believe you only have the one attack, yes?
That's all she's got. But she... Well, hold on. I think I still have... But what is it? D6. So then she will... She'll turn down to Fig. She goes, right, okay, we've got this. I know you can do it. And Bardic Inspiration 1d6 for Fig.
Baby drown.
How far away is the bear?
I'd say the bear's less than 30 feet away.
God. All right. Well, Drown will start chanting in this sort of much deeper than his normal talking voice in child form, sort of baritone, this giant language, almost like a war chant.
Did
like
Drown just hit puberty in this moment?
No, he just has a very deep singing voice. And he will draw his Nerf Sword of Sharpness and charge at the bear.
All right.
Yeah. So he will run up and slash at it. Oof. 19. So that's a 23 to hit.
Definitely a hit.
All right. So he's going to deal... Where is it? And he's going to make this a defensive flourish. Expend one of his Bardic Inspiration dice and sort of slash the sword in a figure 8. Ooh, 6. So that is going to be 13 points of slashing damage. And his armor class increases by 6 for the turn.
Okay. As you slash across and you see several of these what almost look like rippling muscles on this bear, they're just balloons that just pop. You see, even though you're close to it, some of this powder disperse, but it's in very small amounts as individual balloons are popping. Baby Fig.
Fig reaches into his small popcorn container and pulls out what looks to be a metal stick with some sort of coating on it. And as Fig swipes it across the ground, you see a little sparkler begin to happen as he's holding up the sparkler at this balloon bear, and he holds it out at the bear, and you hear this kind of screeching, like, as the little sparkle pops out again, pops out another time, and another time as he casts a magic missile at the bear. Yeah.
I love it. So roll damage on that.
Oh, wow. Okay. 13 points of force damage.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just see these Roman candles come flying over your shoulders, just flying around you, Drown, and smacking into this bear as more balloons pop on it. Is that it, Fig?
That.
All right. As these balloons on the giant caterpillar balloon are popping, you hear from it, Cantriel, "So hungry!" And it is leaning down and it is going to attempt to bite and swallow you. That is a 17 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no!
You are going to take... Rolling my Dawnbringer dice. D6. You take 1 point of static electricity damage from the bite, but... No, or actually, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, as it is attempting to lift you off the ground to swallow you.
That is going to be a 21.
How do you, Cantriel, avoid getting swallowed as it attempts to lift you off the ground?
She basically just sort of tucks and tumbles underneath its mouth, like kind of curls up into a little ball and somersaults out of the way.
Just like in the movies, this thing's, it just barely, you get like just one of those single arcs of electricity from the static, and it's like trying to get at you, and for a moment you're like on the ground and it can't bite past it, and then you tumble out of the way and you hear the constant like that just scrunchy squeaking of balloons as it's trying to swallow you, and you can just hear from it, "So hungry," as the camera crash zooms over to Drown engaged with this balloon bear. It rises up onto its hind legs, and I need you to make a athletics check as it is going to attempt to grapple you.
Okey-dokey. That is going to be a 23.
As it attempts to grapple you, you can feel just that sort of energy in the air from the static electricity of these balloons that are rubbing together. How do you dodge out of the way of this grapple, or otherwise prevent the grapple?
He just sort of braces his arms, takes it, and then as it tries to squeeze in around him, he shifts and knocks the paws apart. Just powers out of it.
As a legendary action, this bear is going to use a feature called Breaking Wind, as several of the balloons on its body come untied, and you just hear that.
Does it move him
They
for a flight?
I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, followed by a constitution saving throw.
16 on dexterity.
So you manage to keep your feet under you as you just feel this wind washing over you, kind of blowing back against you. You are not knocked prone. Now make a con save.
Okay.
Jake, I don't know if it matters, but I'm still sitting on his shoulder.
That very much matters. So you also need to make a dex and con save.
Okay.
Constitution is unfortunately only at 11.
Okay, let's see what Rollo gets.
6 on my dex save.
Rollo, you are straight up blown off of Drown's shoulder and go tumbling ass over tea kettle.
And a 10 on my con save.
And both of you, this is not so much fart smell. This is old man breath that's been in balloons for a really long time. And both of you are at a disadvantage as you will spend until the end of your next turn retching and gagging from the smell. You don't. No need for sound effects. I won't be making those either. But we all know what old balloon air smells like.
Did you skip me in initiative or?
No, you rolled a 2. So
yeah. Okay.
You,
I was confused. I looked at the initiative order and was thrown off.
No,
sorry.
That's because he put balloonimals in there, but didn't know what they were. The bear actually rolled 1 higher than you.
Stupid bear.
And it is your turn.
I am apparently gagging and retching for my turn.
You can still take actions, but they're at disadvantage because of the gagging and retching.
Well, I'm casting a spell. I am casting. Rollo is like, and goes like this and smacks a bunch of stones with her hand and casts catapult.
Nice.
At 2nd level. And the stones basically go flinging up into the face of the bear.
Okay.
I need a dexterity saving throw, please.
That is a natural 20.
Re-roll that.
Whoops, wrong. There we go. It only actually cost you 2. I hit 1 button for where there wasn't a die. Okay. So I'm going to re-roll that. That's Dex?
Yeah.
That's an 18.
I'll take it. The balloons bounce the rocks off of
Have you ever
them.
thrown small balloons, or not small balloons, throw small rocks at balloons? They just kind of boop, 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 boop.
Yep.
You barely notice it as you both are still gagging and retching. The camera pans over to littler Thorgarn as chaos is raining all around you because of these balloonimals. Thank you for that, Jeremy. I that's better than what I came up with, which I don't remember what I came up with.
Balloonimals is pretty good. Oh, I would like to use my movement to fly up into the air.
Yep, you can absolutely do that. So, littler Thorgarn.
So we have the caterpillar and the bear left.
Yep.
Does either of them seem less dexy?
Neither one of them seems... Oh, wait, that's your dexterity. Hold on.
Wow!
Damn. The deep cut from the DM there.
Damn.
You gotta throw shade when you can, right?
Right. Oh, hold on. I mean, the caterpillar is very lumbering in its movements. It takes a lot of energy to move all of those balloon segments.
So, like, he'll take a step towards the caterpillar, and yet again, moments of hesitation, and he'll cast a spell. Need the caterpillar to make a dex saving throw.
That is a total of 1.
Well, that's always nice. He's gonna take 8 points of radiant damage as I cast Sacred Flame.
All right. Baby Talmud. You need to roll a d10.
Yes, D10.
Shit.
Okay. That's a 9.
Perhaps it's your rage
Act normally.
that's letting you act normal.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Whatever the hell normal means. No. Can I reach the bear from where I was with the goat just a moment
Sure,
before?
absolutely. Talmud acting normal is just, howdy, howdy, howdy. Hey there.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Okay, so he's going to now kind of charge for this balloon bear, and is going to aim for one of the spots that has a bunch of these balloons that's already popped. So there's kind of all these hanging pieces of the balloon, and he's going to leap up, a whole 1.5 feet or so off of the ground and bring Gertrude Brelne down, kind of making that, again, that kind of semi-electric kind of noise. It won't be nearly as impressive as the first time, but it's just a nice effect. That he
I
likes
just
when it's
realized I
working.
never took away the 5 tomes when you used a super crit last time.
Oh, my bad for not catching that. Okay, I'm gonna attack recklessly. I don't know if I said that or not, but that gives me a
You said it
23.
now.
I said it now.
Yep. That is
23.
definitely a hit.
Good. All right. This one's gonna be 15. No, wait. How much does the strength give me at this level? I don't know if it does. So we're gonna go with the 15.
15.
Bludgeoning.
All right. Not surprisingly, bludgeoning damage is less effective against the balloon. As you hit it and you sort of hear this squeak sound. And as you do so, the bear again grabs at its chest, taking another legendary action. It rips one of the balloon's pieces off its chest, grabs at the throat of the balloon, and you just hear that. And I need Talmud and Drown. Thorgarn, you went to the worm. That's right. Magic to the worm. Thorgan, nope. Thormid, nope.
Ormid?
Tal.
How many dwarven cousins are here, damn it?
Drown and
Brother
Talmud are
Talmud,
the
my
only
brother
two
Talmud.
close enough. You need to make Constitution saving throws for this squealing sound.
Please tell me this is thunder damage. It's amazing.
Are you resistant to thunder damage?
No, I'm just curious from a game design standpoint. Because it's hilarious. Hey, not bad. Is that a con save?
Yep.
21 for Talmud.
All right.
9.
13 for Drown.
13. Drown, you are deafened by this sound
Ah.
for until the end of your next turn. Which I think is coming up pretty quickly anyway. All right, that's 2. Cantriel.
Okay, so Cantriel will go back and draw another arrow out, and same thing, pull off the protective nerf thing and disgust, and she'll roll to strike with her arrow, hopefully, and that is going to be a 15 to hit the caterpillar.
Your arrow flies up as it's rearing back after being hit. Actually, roll with advantage because didn't.
Oh.
Or no, wait, that was Sacred Flame, not
No.
Guiding Bolt. Your arrow strikes this this caterpillar, and You hit with precision, and it's hard to miss a giant inflatable caterpillar. But your arrow was flying so fast and true, it went thunk, and just sort of lodges in one of the balloons and just... you do no damage.
Oh, then you see that she stamps her foot and her cheeks get this fiery red flush to them. And Sempre Cavatina starts to glow a fiery color. And she starts making this high-pitched, almost tantrum-like scream. And as she opens her mouth, flames come out. And she's going to use her once-a-day bonus action to, breathe fire.
I'm totally picturing a Veruca Salt moment.
Yes.
I love that this
Only
is
it's
coming.
red.
That this is coming out as a temper tantrum.
It's fantastic.
Excellent. Is that an attack roll? I can't remember. Or is it a dex save?
It's a dex save against 15. I love my dice.
That is a 15.
Okay, so it just makes it then, right? If it's a 15?
Yeah, if your DC was 15,
Yeah.
Wait.
Okay, so
The DC's 15 and I rolled a 15. Why am I forgetting how this works, Dan?
That passes.
You pass.
that passes, yeah.
Cast
So then you'll
confusion
take
on myself.
half. Right? So then you take half, which is going to be 10 fire.
And yet it looks like it does not full. Well, it looks like it does full damage to you as balloons start melting and just entire parts of this, as it seems to also be susceptible to fire.
Ooh. Nice.
She'll just huff and toss a curl back and
I would
tidy
like
herself up.
I would like Katie to roll me a d6 and tell me what you got.
I got a 3. Oh wait, I have actual dice. I can use those. Yes, I got a 3.
All of you begin to hear this escalating, I'll call it, sound of balloons squeaking as if they're being rubbed together. And Fig, because you're closest to the ground, and Rollo, because you're airborne, the two of you notice that there are dozens and dozens of brown balloon rats swarming around the ground. They're not doing anything at this moment. They've just begun to swarm around.
Had to be a swarming animal, didn't it, Em?
I won't lie.
Look
A
at
mistake
that.
was made
She
on
just
my part.
immediately put the blame on you.
A mistake was made.
Baby Drown,
Yes.
you are up.
All right. Well, there's still a bear in my face, so I think Drown is going to kind of shaking his head to try and shake off the ringing in his ears, sort of dance around to the side to try and pincer the bear between him and Talmud, and take another strike at it. That's another 19. Damn it.
Go ahead and roll it with advantage because you're technically flanking it now.
Oh, all right. Don't I have disadvantage from the broken wind? So.
Oh yeah, so that would be an even roll.
So we'll just take the 19 and not have to disadvantage it.
Yeah, there you go.
And he will make another defensive flourish. Why not? So damn, that's another 6. So that's going to be 12 points of slashing damage, and the defensive flourish again adds 6 to his armor class.
What does it look like when you pop this bear?
Aha! So it's sort of a giant two-handed figure 8, just sort of stroke with the blade, so it kind of quarters the bear, and they all kind of in 4 different directions.
Just balloons everywhere. Just And
I just wanted to make the noise too.
Rollo, you're up in the air, and you see at least a couple of them are just flying past you.
Oh no!
Careful! Careful!
Oh,
Like
mistakes.
artillery.
Damn it!
It was worth it for the lulls. Oh, God.
Baby
Okay.
Fig.
So sorry, is there still the caterpillar, or is it just the rats now?
Oh no, the caterpillar is still very much there, and you are surrounded by a swarm of balloon rats.
How big are these rats?
How big are the rats? Rat-sized?
Hmm.
Do it.
I mean, rats can get pretty big. I don't know. There's no rats in Alberta, so I have no idea how
They're
big
like
a
this
rat is.
big.
I think
Okay.
we're just trying to make
Which-
sure they're not
keep-
RUS.
Well, let's
Yeah.
keep in mind, too, this is relative, because how big is Fig? So, compared to Fig, these are like half your
Okay.
size.
They're probably
Perfect,
about the
that's
size
exact-
of a chunky sweet potato.
Oh my gosh, I think I know what's
That
coming.
makes sense.
Oh, perfect. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Fig wants to hop on one.
I fully expected that. I would like you to make a balloon animal handling check.
All right.
Wouldn't sleight of hand work there too?
Ooh. All right. I rolled a 17, so that's a 15.
Okay. As soon as you jump on this rat, you have full control over it.
Amazing. Everyone's fighting this, all of these balloon animals, and you just see out of the corner of your eye just this rat with this little robot, like, just jump up into the air, as Fig is going to use the movement to head towards the caterpillar. And are you? Would you still? That if that's his action, I am also completely okay with that. As he's going to move towards the.
I'll say jumping on the or the balloon rat and taking control was not an action. That was just something you did. It's a balloon animal, so it's technically an object interaction.
Okay. All right. So then, yeah, Fig is going to, with his little sparkler sword in hand, is going to ride this rat towards this huge caterpillar, and fire off a firebolt at it.
Okay.
Ooh, I got a nat 20 on that.
Nice. That is automatic max damage, then roll your damage die on top of it. And then
Awesome.
whatever you get
Vulnerable to
double
this.
because
Ooh.
it is vulnerable to fire.
So that's going to be 30 points of fire damage.
Is that after the
No,
double?
You rolled
sorry.
you rolled
20.
a 10, right?
20.
Yeah.
Sorry, not 2D. Why did it roll 2D? Oh, it did it by itself. Just kidding. Sorry. That's going to be 14. D&D Beyond was like, "Oh, let me do the advantage for you." And then I was very confused.
Okay, so
Sorry.
14, and
14.
then
Yeah.
that gets doubled to 28.
Nice.
As I just imagined the camera moving into this low angle Fig's perspective as you hop on, like this rat is squeaking and hopping along, all these rats swarming, and you just sort of Legolas onto this thing, right up onto the back of it. And as you do so, all of these other rats start swarming in behind you as you are just leading this swarm, and you just pull out this sparkler wand and shoot this firebolt. And for a moment, you and the rats are all illuminated as high above you, this giant, very, very hungry balloon caterpillar. Heartburn! And it is the caterpillar's turn. The caterpillar is going to make 2 attacks. There are 3 primary targets that it's eyeing right now. They are airborne Erd, the ratborn Robo,
Robot.
and the arrow slinging bard.
Temper tantrum
1, 2,
incarnate.
3. What's that?
Temper tantrum incarnate.
Right. That is going to be you, and your rat swarm are targeted by this thing for the first attack. As you see this massive balloon maw, like white balloons are the teeth, and you just see this thing leaning down towards you, Fig. It is a 25 to hit. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, and I'm going to give you advantage because you're ratborn. It sounds like you take 8 points of static damage from the static discharge of the bite.
And I rolled a 16 with that advantage.
How does this look as you and your rat swarm dodge being bitten and swallowed by this purple? You know it's a purple worm stat. I keep
It's
saying
a
it,
purple
but
caterpillar.
We squeak by.
hey, I'm a big proponent of always intending your puns.
I think as they're running towards Fig at the head of this, he sees it coming, and you just hear Fig in his very high-pitched robot-y voice just flee, and the rats just separate.
For a moment, to anybody watching, it looks like Fig and this one rat just got chomped. And then, literally squeaking through the teeth, you see as you emerge without being swallowed by it. However,
Glorious.
from around the side of this big top, the rear end of the caterpillar swings around, and there is a long deflated balloon that is like a whip of a tail as it whoosh, and it is going to attempt to strike at you, Cantriel. For 16.
That'll hit.
You are going to take, what's that? 12 points of static damage.
Owie.
Okay.
As you just get whipped with it. I mean, it's just almost like somebody took a deflated balloon, held it out, and just snapped you with it. As you get whipped by this thing.
Back and forth.
Let's see, the bear's dead. Baby Rollo, I would like you at the start of your turn to make a, as you finally recover and you are no longer retching, I would like you to make a perception check.
That is perception. 17.
From your lofty vantage point, you have a good view of the carnival midway. Most of the civilians have cleared out. Mr. Witch and Mr. Light are watching in awe, watching back and forth between all of you and watching what's happening. But just past Witch and Light, where the entrance is, the thorn bushes were pulled apart. You see Thacko the clown furiously puffing away on his bubble pipe, and he's reaching into a pouch and he's twisting balloon animals into shapes. And you see next to him there is a balloon animal of a caterpillar, a bear, a goat, rats, and he is putting something together, and it's using a lot of balloons.
I am going to fly so that I can angle to only hit him with my 60-foot cone of amber light as I use my wand and cast Cone of Fear at him.
Alrighty.
I need a wisdom saving throw.
Yeah, that's... 1 second. Oh, wait. Sorry. Wrong stat block. I'm sorry. Which save was that?
Wisdom?
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
That is a 14.
Oh, DC 15. Yeah! Batman!
You see, as that happens, the balloon that he was currently working on just goes... as he drops the balloon animal that he was making.
Do
But you
Mr. Witch
see-
and Mr. Light turn around and see this?
Oh. Die. Ooh, they do not.
Ooh.
They kind of duck when you flash your wand in their direction.
Okay.
Could have said that better.
Yep. That's
I said what I said.
That's where we are now.
I said what I said.
That's where we are.
But they kind of duck, but it's kind of like, ooh, that almost got us. They do not notice what has happened.
Okay.
But you see that whatever the balloon animal he dropped was finished. But from your vantage point, you can't see it.
Get ready for another one! It was the clown! Thaco!
Littler Thorgarn.
So do we see where Rollo was pointing?
I would say you could, from your vantage point, you could see that Rollo was pointing around to the side of the big top.
And how far away would that be to get there?
Within range.
So I'll move around and see if I see anyone over there or anything coming.
As soon as you come around the side, you see Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, who are kind of shocked to see you standing there, but just past them, the camera sort of, and you see a very frightened Thaco the Clown standing there. Just his bubble pipe is dangling from his mouth, and you just see one bubble on the end of the pipe as he's breathing heavily, going.
That's cute.
Decisions. A roll. Right. So I will launch a guiding bolt at him.
All right.
Sorry, this one. That is a 13 on the die, so 17 to hit.
Absolutely hits him.
Um, 16 points of damage, and he glowing.
As you strike Thaco, a couple of things happen. First off, you hit Thaco, and there is no pause, no hesitation, nothing. As soon as this light hits him, it's as if somebody yanked a rope from behind, and Thaco goes flying, tumbling backwards into the thorn bushes. And all of you hear this terrific screeching sound as if 1,000 balloons were squealing at once from above the carnival. And you all turn to see a massive balloon dragon. And as it's flying down towards all of you, it bursts, and thousands of little balloon fragments, as they rain down. There's one thing the WitchLight Carnival is. It is very, it's from the Feywild. They're very green. All of these balloon fragments dissipate into pixie dust. So they do not cause choking hazards for animals or environmental issues.
So
The
that still just
giant-
counts as one, right?
What's that?
I said that just counts as one, right?
The giant caterpillar also just goes, so hungry, as it slowly deflates. And Fig, as you and your rats are running around through the midway, you just hear, and after a moment, you just kind of stumble forward, holding on to a deflated rat balloon.
Oh, I was kind of hoping Fig would get to keep her army, or his army.
I will say, Fig, because it's canon that Fig has a rat familiar, you would absolutely be able to summon your rat familiar in balloon animal form if you wanted to.
Oh,
my
he
God.
absolutely
Amazing.
would right away.
Yes.
You'd be sad for like a few seconds and then use that, spend those 10 minutes to like,
A literal light bulb clicks on above his head.
The little antenna just go.
and he places, oh, why is his name escaping me? Oh no. His little, it starts with an H. Why am I having
Hermes.
my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. I was like, my brain kept saying like Hercules. I'm like, that's not it.
He's so fast, even his name escaped me.
Hermes. Fig puts Hermes on top of the little rat as they walk.
While you're casting that, Rollo flies down and pulls out a tiny mouse and sets the mouse on your shoulder. I keep forgetting I have a pet mouse.
And so all around you, the various balloon animals have deflated, and everybody's looking around and in awe, and all of a sudden you begin to hear from all around you the sounds of applause as I opened up the wrong source. As you see approaching you Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, and they are...
Drown doesn't seem to notice any of this. He's like wiggling the tip of his pinky in his ear and going, mop, mop, mop.
Just, for a moment, you just see Mr. Light is beaming, and all you hear is...
Mop.
Mop.
As they approach you, and they say immediately, well done, well done. I have never seen such a display such as this, and I am definitely talking about the actions of all of you, but also those balloon monstrosities. We have never seen such a thing happen here. We will have to begin an investigation at once.
I can tell you who it was.
You have insight, little one, into this mysterious happenstance?
Yes, I saw it. It was the sad clown.
Mr. Witch and Mr. Light look at each other, and Mr. Witch turns, and you just hear, Thaco! And he just goes
Rollo shudders.
storming off in that direction, and you hear, Burley!
He got pulled away that way.
And immediately you see Burley, even though Burley's wearing bib overalls and has no sleeves whatsoever, Burley goes... he goes charging towards the brush as Mr. Light looks around at all of you and says, I can tell right now that we made a grave mistake in underestimating you. That we should have any doubt that you were who you said you were is, please accept our most humble apologies, as it is very evident that you are the heroes of renown, the Dawnbringers. And you can see he is genuinely apologizing, but he's put on this air of showmanship because the entire carnival is watching him. Normally, this is a ceremony that would take place within the big top at the end of the evening. And he looks over as Mr. Witch comes forward holding his watch. It is very nearly the end of the evening. Proceed. And
Excuse me, but some of our friends got really hurt. Can anybody fix them?
yes, we have somebody who will take care of that immediately.
Okay.
And he swirls his weather vane or his scepter vane thing around, and you hear the crowd begin to mutters of amazement as from behind the crowd comes a floating feathered form, as you all see a feathery beholder come flying into view. Ah, yes, Celeste! Celeste is our resident beholder. And Celeste flies in above everybody, and you see the eye stalks looking around, and Celeste says, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, wounds everywhere. You have a boo-boo and you have a boo-boo. Well, boo-boos no more. As a soft, gentle red light, almost a pink color, begins to emanate from the eye rays across any of you who had taken wounds, including the gnomish purveyor of snow cones. And you are all healed of any damage. By the way, Beholder I cannot take credit for, as it was named a Beholder and created custom for me by our own Nerdarchist Ted.
Yay!
Who had no idea I was going to actually use it in a Dawnbringers game.
I did not.
I named her Celeste because she is a celestial Beholder.
It sat on the shelf over there for years, and when the gaming group showed up a couple of weeks ago, they're like, it's gone. I'm like, yeah, I finally sent it off.
I've been waiting for just the right moment to use it, and this was the perfect moment.
Perfect.
It's fantastic.
As Celeste heals all of you and then just sort of moves off to the side to watch as Mr. Light says, normally this is something that we would do within the big top, but everybody seems to be here to watch. There is no doubt in my mind whatsoever that the six of you are almost single-handedly responsible for raising the mood of the carnival and presenting it with the most astounding evening of activities and events that has been seen across the realms for quite some time. And so, it is by the power vested in me as Master of Ceremonies of the WitchLight Carnival that I crown you. As he leans forward, and as he's holding an imaginary crown, but as he leans towards you, Rollo, an actual crown forms in his hands, and he places it upon your head. And then he says, and I crown you! And he does the same to you, Fig. And you, and you, and you, and he goes to each one of you, magically placing a crown upon each of your heads. And there's this sort of Avengers moment as the camera is panning around the six of you in the midst of this group, as all around you the carnival is cheering. You see Palasha the mermaid in her giant globe aquarium with she's kind of leaning out of it, holding hands with Candlefoot the mime. You see Burley holding Thaco by the scruff, and Burley is just sort of snapping his fingers in time to the clapping because his other hand is occupied. You see the two gnomish purveyors of snow cones rapidly clapping in joy. You see Durlagon. You even catch sight of the Weird Three skulking through the crowd and vanishing in the direction of the House of Illusions. After a bit, the fanfare settles down, and Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, you hear them tell Burley to detain Thaco, and they will deal with him shortly. Mr. Witch looks very seriously at the six of you and says, I would like for all of you to follow me, please. And he gestures, and you begin walking towards the House of Illusions. Or Hall of Illusions, sorry. As he says, once you are inside, he actually doesn't say anything. But you get inside the Hall of Illusions, and you see all of you as you're following behind them. The mirrors have all repositioned themselves into a single linear hallway. And you all see on either side Mr. Witch on the left, Mr. Light on the right. And you see their reflections are not their adult selves, but rather their childlike selves with their pale Shadowport features, and they look like very gloomy children. After a few moments, they walk past these reflections. These gloomy Shadowport child reflections seem to linger for a moment, watching. You all see this central area is a circle of mirrors, and looking in the mirrors, you all see your own true reflections. Mr. Witch looks around at all of you and says, everything you seek and more lies beyond this mirror. If you step through, if that is your intention, then you stand in front of the glass and repeat this rhyme. Hither, thither, here and there, wander yonder, show me where. And you see your own reflections of your true selves turn and seem to step aside and step out of the reflection, so none of the mirrors are reflecting anything at this moment. What do you do?
Cantriel turns to Drown. Drown, quick question.
Drown doesn't answer immediately. He's just kind of staring at the now blank mirror.
You're different than him. And she'll nod to where the mirror was.
He kind of shakes his head a little bit and turns and looks down at her and nods. Yeah, I'm starting to realize that now. And he'll look at Mr. Witch and Mr. Light and say, if we go through that mirror, are we going to be our old selves again?
Mr. Light, who has, for the most part, been the more upbeat of the two of them, looks at you and says, with a very serious expression, the magic that brought you here to the carnival and has allowed you to experience it in its truest form is part of a great weave of magic that passes throughout the realms and throughout the planes. No matter where you go, that magic will always linger to some degree. You will turn back into your true selves when you pass through that mirror. But the you that you are now is also your true self. You can choose which part you wish to take with you.
Rollo kind of slips her hand into Drown's.
He squeezes it tightly, but not too tightly. He's very conscious of it. No. I don't really know what that means.
I think it means that you've got the choice that whatever it was that changed you from, he points to you and points to the mirror. Whatever that change was, you can use this as an opportunity to be more of whatever you want.
That sounds nice. I don't know. I guess we'll see. It's not like I can stay here. We have to save Evangeline.
Yeah.
On the other side of these mirrors, there is a land called Prismere. That is the home of Evangeline. Once you pass through this portal, you must find your own way back.
Okay.
Well, I've done it before and I ended up back here, so...
We can do this. We can do it. Because we'll be together and we can do anything together.
And she squeezes Drown's hand.
Anything.
Drown is tearing up.
Cantriel will take his other hand.
Whatever you decide. I like both Drowns.
Thanks.
Me too.
I don't super remember how I've been. That's weird. It's like waking up from a dream. And I know I don't remember everything that came before usually, but I do now. So this is just it? Yes, it's the Shatterkai. We just decide now and go, and
I think you've already made your decision. Stand in front of the mirror and recite the rhyme. Hither, thither, here and there, wander yonder, show me where.
Right. Here we go.
Cantriel will just drop Drown's hand and march over to her mirror, and she'll say it, head thrown back, shoulders straight, and rattle it off as quickly as she possibly can.
Mist begins to swirl within the mirror and begins to seep out of the mirror, coalescing around your feet. And you all watch as Cantriel's form just sort of dissolves into mist, and Cantriel's true Eladrin form appears in the mirror for a moment and then is gone.
Talmud will step up to another mirror and kind of tap it a little with his knuckles. And then he has to probably say the phrase like 2 or 3 times before he actually gets all of the words right all the way through.
Fine.
100%.
I just imagine at one point, Mr. Light kind of leans down and just says, hither, thither,
Yeah, exactly.
here and there. He just feeds you each line.
Yep, I follow him like a priest at a wedding. It's just one line at a time.
And the same thing happens to you, Talmud.
I think Fig walks up. He has an armload of all the things that he has collected. He has Hermes. He has the little. He has half of an eaten snow cone. He has the little balloon rat, and he has his other self. He has the little Mr. Witch thing. He just has like this armload of stuff that he just walks straight up to the mirror with. And this is actually the most you've heard Fig speak this whole time. And he looks back to Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, and with like kind of a difficulty with frees one of his hands and kind of just waves to them. And I imagine as he says the lines, you can almost hear, like in the first part is that very tinny sounding forced words, but then by the second verse you hear the more calm, eloquent voice of Fig as he steps through.
Drown?
Yeah.
Are you scared?
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
What are you scared of?
Waking up and forgetting the dream.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think
We'll see.
You've got the ability to make the choice. From here, we remember all the stuff we already did. It seems weird with these bodies that we have here. I think this could be something that's helpful for you.
Maybe.
I'll just, gesture at the mirror.
Rollo will remind you.
Thanks. And Drown will walk up to the mirror and hither, thither, here and there, wander, yonder, show me where. And step forward, and the impassive, almost carved out of a block of pale granite image of adult Drown in front of him, he kind of looks down at his hand and traces the tattoos on the back of his hand, takes a deep breath and steps into the mirror, and adult Drown's tattoos writhe and sort of wrap around him and pull him in.
Rollo follows him, goes up to the mirror.
Hither, thither, here and there. Wander yonder. Show me where. I guess.
There's a moment where you're not sure, Rollo, if the magic worked. And then the mist swirls around you and you are pulled in, leaving only Thorgarn standing there.
Making sure, everybody has gone through, making sure everything is here. He saw the lack of confidence, in the battle. He trained for things, but there was the mindset of his youth fighting against what he'd already done. He gladly, wants to be back to who he was. So he goes through the whole thing and rejoins his companions.
As you step through to the mirror, on either side of you, behind you, you hear, only you, Thorgarn, hear this, the voices, Mr. Witch and Mr. Light. Mr. Witch says, mind the rule of 3, future, present, past. Mr. Light says, find the alicorn and free the Dorbent Queen at last. And then you leave the carnival behind. Mists swirl around all of you, and for moments, several moments, you cannot see your companions. You see only mists. You see in the mists swirling around you, you hear sounds moving past you, and you see things seeming to emerge for a moment, like a face or a hand reaching out at you. And then all of you begin to see a pale blue light as the mist slips away from your eyes. And you all find yourself standing at the edge of a raised, broken causeway under a hazy twilight sky. The causeway, which is built from these pale stones that are glowing faintly from within, towers over the surrounding landscape, but you see large sections of this causeway have just crumbled away. The parts that remain in place are separated by huge gaps where other pieces have fallen and collapsed. A fog-shrouded swamp spreads out below you in all directions, and up from the murk of this swamp you smell rotting plants, rotting vegetation. Also rising from the swamp is the music of nature, a discordant symphony of croaking frogs and singing birds. Cantriel, this sound of nature is something that is very familiar to you as a ranger. And we turn now to you as the twilight cascades across your features, and you see all of your friends around you in their full, true adult forms.
Immediately, Cantriel will turn on her heel and walk over to Drown, and she takes both of his hands into hers, and she looks up at him.
Regardless, past or present, you have always been there for us, and we will always be here for you. No matter what, no matter how, you're our Drown.
And she'll pull him in for a hug.
I think there's like a full beat, and then Talmud says, Drown, did a bear fart on you?
And the camera will pan away from this view on the causeway. And that is where we will end this session. I couldn't have planned for the music to swell the way it did
That
in that
was
moment
perfect.
at the end.
Oh my god, it was so good.
Y'all, I agonized over this balloon animal encounter all week.
That was
and
amazing.
I almost scrapped it.
It was so
Fantastic.
much fun.
You all helped to make this one of my favorite sessions, both in terms of the ridiculous silliness of the balloon animal encounter, but the character interactions at the end there, you guys. Everything about this was just absolutely amazing. Everybody take a point of inspiration. If you already have it, that's fine. It stacks as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, that's wow. That was a great session. This also concludes our childlike Dawnbringers. When we return next week, you will be all back to your level 14 adult selves as you figure
That
out
was a lot of fun.
where in the
That
heck
was
you
super
were.
cool.
I
Incredible.
just want to say thank you so much for embracing this idea I had that I sprang on you in the first session, that you would all turn at the end of the first session, that you all turned into children, and you went through 3 levels as children. You got to, I wanted you to experience the WitchLight Carnival in a pure form without the burden of being these hardened adventurers that are trying to get to the root of a problem. And I just loved everything about these last 5 sessions, and I can't wait to see what you do now that you're in the Feywild, and for a certain Eladrin, now that you're back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can speak for all of us when I say we're going to listen to Cantriel. That's what we're going to be doing.
I don't know about the rest of you, but Thorgarn considers Cantriel the leader anyway. So
Yep.
Well, this was an absolute blast. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to hang out with us tonight. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you to the GR crew who just rated us. Our friends over at Unmade Gaming also rated us earlier. Thank you to anybody who subbed or gift subs. There were some bits cheered in there. There were some bits cheered in there. That kind of, in my head, that ran together really, really close. It sounded like something else. But I just want to say too, if you are somebody that likes to come into our stream and just lurk quietly in the background, you're not active in chat, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we hope you enjoy the streams. I also just want to remind you that we've got this Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern right here on twitch.tv/miniaturrain coming over from the Big Bearded Nerd channel, moving here to MTD, is Shadowport Adventures, run by Neophet. That is a Star Wars adventure series. I've played in it before. They've got a great crew of players that are taking on some adventures. Jay just knows the Fantasy Flight Star Wars inside and out. It's a great GM. Dwight, the Big Bearded Nerd, will be producing that. Monday, Candlekeep Mysteries, Scribes and Scrolls will return with episode 36. And we've got next Wednesday, we've got our final episode of Mythos Tales, Mythos Investigator Silent Sky from our Keeper M, who is taking us through the paces on the moon. Just all kinds of great stuff going on. We will, in 2 weeks, there will not be a Dawnbringers game because I will be on vacation for the first time in years. So I need to figure out who we are going to raid. If you've got a name before I figure one out. Last time
the Tiger Wizard.
I need to figure out. I don't know what that is.
The Tiger Wizard is Katie Atkins from D4.
Okay. That is absolutely the Tiger Wizard?
The Tiger Wizard, yeah.
The Tiger Wizard just showed up there. I will have to make sure. There we go. Okay, so we will go ahead in just a moment here, and we're going to read the Tiger Wizard. of course, once again, just a huge thank you to these amazing players. We're on our 6th season of Dawnbringers. I am so lucky that I get to lead the stories and go on these adventures with these amazing characters played by these amazing players that I look forward to playing with every week. So thank you so much to V, Dan, M, Ted, Jeremy, and Katie. Thank you so much. Without you, it would just be me talking to myself for a couple of hours. So with that, we are going to go ahead and end the stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want.
Hobbit teabag.